Have you ever paused to wonder what it might feel like to stand in the exact moment when history itself was forever altered? Picture the endless, wind-swept plains of ancient Mesopotamia over 4,000 years ago as a solitary figure emerges through the haze of dust. A man named Sargon, a master of cunning strategy and unshakable will, who rises from nothing to seize the destiny of nations. Before your very eyes, city after city collapses as he forges humanity's first true empire, a creation so bold and unprecedented, it shattered every boundary of imagination. Today, we step into the legendary saga of the Akkadian Empire, a civilization so transformative that it redirected the course of mankind and laid the foundation for every empire that would follow. The year is approximately 2334 BCE, and the fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers are buzzing with independent city-states, each jealously guarding their territory and resources. These Sumerian cities, like Ur, Uruk, and Lagash, have been the centers of civilization for over 1,000 years, developing writing, mathematics, and complex societies. But none of them could have predicted that their world was about to be turned upside down by a man whose very name would become legendary. Enter Sargon of Akkad, whose story reads like something straight out of a fantasy novel. According to ancient texts, he was born in secret, placed in a basket, and floated down a river where he was discovered and raised by a gardener. Sound familiar? This narrative pattern would later inspire countless hero myths throughout history. But here's where the story gets real and absolutely fascinating. Sargon didn't just stumble into power through luck or birthright. This man was a strategic genius who understood something revolutionary about warfare and politics that nobody else had grasped. While the Sumerian city-states were content to fight each other in small-scale conflicts, Sargon envisioned something much bigger. He looked at the fragmented landscape of Mesopotamia and saw opportunity where others saw chaos. What made Sargon's military campaign so devastatingly effective was his innovative approach to warfare. Instead of relying solely on heavily armored infantry like his contemporaries, he incorporated composite bows and developed new tactical formations that gave his armies unprecedented mobility and striking power. His soldiers weren't just warriors. They were a professional military force trained to execute complex maneuvers that left enemy forces bewildered and defeated. But here's what's truly mind-blowing about Sargon's conquests. He didn't stop at Mesopotamia. This ambitious ruler pushed his armies far beyond what anyone thought possible, reaching as far as modern-day Turkey in the north and potentially even touching the Mediterranean coast. Archaeological evidence suggests his influence extended across a territory spanning over 800 miles, creating the first true multi-ethnic empire in recorded history. The genius of the Akkadian Empire wasn't just in its military conquests, though. Sargon and his successors understood something crucial about maintaining control over such a vast territory. You can't rule effectively through force alone. They developed sophisticated administrative systems that allowed local cultures to maintain their identities while contributing to the empire's overall strength and prosperity. One of the most brilliant aspects of Akkadian rule was their approach to language and culture. Rather than completely suppressing Sumerian civilization, they absorbed and built upon it. The Akkadian language, written in cuneiform script, became the diplomatic lingua franca of the ancient Middle East for over a millennium. This wasn't cultural destruction, it was cultural evolution on a massive scale. The economic innovations of the Akkadian Empire were equally revolutionary. They established trade networks that connected distant regions, creating wealth and prosperity that had never been seen before. Merchants could travel safely across vast distances under Akkadian protection, carrying goods, ideas, and technologies that enriched every corner of the empire. This economic integration created a level of interdependence that helped hold the empire together. Archaeological discoveries have revealed the incredible sophistication of Akkadian society. Their artisans created bronze sculptures of unprecedented realism and beauty. Their architects designed palaces and temples that showcased both power and aesthetic refinement. The famous Victory Stele of Naram-Sin, Sargon's grandson, depicts the ruler climbing a mountain to reach the gods themselves, symbolizing the divine authority that Akkadian kings claimed. But power, as we know, is never permanent. The Akkadian Empire faced challenges that would test every aspect of its resilience. Climate change played a devastating role in the empire's eventual decline. Archaeological evidence points to a severe drought period that lasted for decades, causing widespread famine and social unrest. When people are struggling to survive, maintaining loyalty to distant rulers becomes increasingly difficult. The empire also faced constant pressure from neighboring peoples who resented Akkadian dominance. The Gutians from the Zagros Mountains launched persistent raids that gradually wore down the empire's defenses. Internal rebellions erupted as local governors began asserting independence, fragmenting the once unified territory into competing factions. What's particularly fascinating is how the collapse of the Akkadian Empire around 2154 BCE created a power vacuum that allowed other civilizations to rise. The third dynasty of Ur emerged from the chaos, attempting to restore Sumerian dominance, while new peoples like the Babylonians and Assyrians would eventually build their own empires using lessons learned from Akkadian successes and failures. The legacy of the Akkadian Empire extends far beyond its relatively brief existence. They established governmental and military principles that would be copied and refined by every subsequent empire in the region. The concept of centralized administration, professional armies, and cultural assimilation policies can be traced directly back to Akkadian innovations. Perhaps most importantly, the Akkadian Empire proved that it was possible for human societies to organize on a scale previously unimaginable. They showed that diverse peoples could be unified under a single political system while maintaining their local identities and customs. This was a revolutionary concept that would shape political thinking for thousands of years. The archaeological record continues to reveal new insights about this remarkable civilization. Recent excavations have uncovered evidence of advanced mathematical knowledge, sophisticated irrigation systems, and international diplomatic correspondence that demonstrates the empire's far-reaching influence. Each discovery adds another piece to our understanding of how these ancient people created something truly unprecedented. Modern scholars debate whether the Akkadian Empire should be considered the first true empire in human history, but there's no questioning its profound impact on subsequent civilizations. The administrative techniques, military strategies, and cultural policies developed by Sargon and his successors became the template for empire building throughout the ancient world. The story of the Akkadian Empire reminds us that human civilization is built on the accumulated innovations of countless generations. These ancient Mesopotamians, working with bronze tools and clay tablets, managed to create political and social structures that remained relevant for millennia. Their achievements in government, military organization, and cultural integration continue to influence how we think about leadership and society today. As we reflect on this incredible civilization, we're reminded that the foundations of our modern world were laid by people who lived over 4,000 years ago. The Akkadian Empire may have lasted only about 180 years, but its influence echoes through history, proving that sometimes the most important legacies are not the longest-lasting kingdoms, but the revolutionary ideas that change how humanity sees itself and its possibilities. The next time you think about ancient history, remember Sargon and his remarkable empire. They weren't just ancient peoples living primitive lives. They were innovators, visionaries, and builders who created something the world had never seen before and established principles that continue to shape our world today.